Welcome back, folks. Elon giveth and Elon taketh away. We're speaking, of course, about Mr. Musk, the richest man in the world, or he was the richest man in the world. He is no longer. I believe Bezos is back to that now that Tesla has made a bit of a correction, to put it mildly. Stock came down from over $900, Tesla, to, right now it's right at 600. It's up $10 on the day, right at 600. So that's pretty big correction, 35% correction or so, maybe a bit more than that. And Mr. Musk, of course, hosted Saturday Night Live. He was the celebrity host and helped our Doge push to record highs. And then as his jokes came out during the show and fell flat with the crypto audience, people just sold, which is what we said all along. You should be long into the show and out of it at that point. And now Mr. Musk apparently has figured out that most of the mining that goes on in the world for Bitcoin is carbon based, meaning that they burn either fossil fuels like coal or natural gas. There are some miners, I'm sure, I know of some, that are tied to wind or solar and water, hydroelectric. But nonetheless, that's a minority, a severe minority of folks right now that are in that space. And so Mr. Musk said, hey, it's just too intensive on the environment, so we will no longer take Bitcoin in exchange for our vehicles. And Bitcoin smashed through 50,000 on that news. And what was the low print that you guys saw? Monty, what was the lowest print you saw last night?
Pretty much exactly 47K.
So right at that critical support.
Yep. Yeah, and as AJ actually pointed out a channel that was forming this week, and that was actually the lower bound of the channel that he highlighted, 47K. But yeah, John, it approached that level so fast that scared a lot of people. Yeah, I was one of them. It was a pretty scary moment, but the bulls stepped in, bought that dip. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy are one of them. They bought the dip last night. But yeah, I mean, Elon, very influential guy. CJ, you bought the dip as well?
Yes.
Very, very nice. Very nice. But yeah,
well, and even ETH went from, was it 4,300 or 4,400 on the highs yesterday, guys, or 24-hour high?
Yeah, about 4,400. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, just shy at least. I showed 3,560, but I'm only looking at one exchange right now. And then smashed all the way down just right after Mr. Musk's comments. It hit a low of 3,600 and got bought. But it's not a lot above that right now, 38.82. So if you're somebody that thought that you missed out on Ethereum, here's another chance. Although when you look at the 7-day and you look and say, well, let's see, 7 days ago, it was 3,300, traded to 4,400. Maybe it needed a little, what I'm going to refer to this and the stock market, guys, is digesting gains. I'm not going to say it's necessarily a full-blown correction. I'm going to say they are digesting the gains that they've made in both cases. Dow Jones hit 35,000 last week. S&P was just within that close of a similar sort of all-time high. And then S&P made a 4% correction like that. Dow Jones dropped 1,100 points like that. I think they're digesting the gains, and they were scared because you can't have a bad jobs print and bad inflation. You could have one or the other, and the market, I think, could shrug it off, which we had Friday. We had the bad jobs, and the market kind of said, okay, we can still go to work. And then when we got the inflation data, that's just 2 in a row. And by the way, make it 3, because today's producer price was also hotter than expected. That's, of course, the folks that produce the things that we consume. The consumer comes the day before, producer comes the day after, and both of them are running pretty hot. But everybody's going to say it's transitory. And that could be, but I have my doubts. At least for the short term, I think we could see another month of the same sort of thing. Massive demand without enough supply, because either A, labor doesn't want to go back to work because you're making as much or more money without working. And in some cases, actual supply constraints like lumber or some of the other, crude oil, which you just don't have enough of it because of the colonial shutdown. It'll take a few days before they get those gas stations back to normal. And most of the gasoline, I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but most of the storage in this country is in people's gas tanks, in their cars. It's not in those big white things you see by refineries, those huge drums, if you will. It's not in those, it's in your car. Because if we're all driving around half full, that's an awful lot of gasoline. And when a lot of those cars on the East Coast are running on empty, takes more than a couple days to refill those guys. And that's like I say, supply and demand. I'm always watching that, guys.
Yeah, that's a huge driving force of the market, no doubt about it, John. And, I want to quickly just get back to Bitcoin, because one question I'm seeing quite a bit here is, does this tweet from Elon, does it change our macro perspective on Bitcoin? Did he reveal anything new? Does this set us back? How does this affect our macro models? And in my opinion, this doesn't change anything. For me, like CJ, I also bought the dip last night. I was more than happy to get Bitcoin below 50K. I didn't think I'd get another chance at that. But really, if you look at the chart here, I think, the channel still holds up. We're still at the same point in the market cycle where there's a lot of speculation downstream with some of the altcoins. And, naturally, there's going to be a bit of a panic when the most influential crypto influencer or even market influencer on the world puts out a bearish tweet like that. But ultimately, if you go on Elon's Twitter and you look back just 2 weeks, you can see that, 2 weeks ago, he agreed that Bitcoin mining actually incentivizes the creation of renewable energy sources. So, I don't know that this is entirely his opinion. I think maybe their investment in Bitcoin was getting a bit, it was starting to clash with the ethos of Tesla and what they're trying to do with their electric cars, just for the time being. So I think it makes sense that, Tesla kind of distanced themselves from Bitcoin just for the interim. But for me, this really doesn't change anything in the long term.
I mean, this is just horrible due diligence on Tesla's part, because we've been to conferences where we've met businesses who purposely connect miners with the most effective renewable energy sources so they can get efficient energy costs. Anthony Pompliano went on CNBC this morning, did a lovely job of explaining that 75% of Bitcoin miners use some form of renewable energy. They are seeking out more forms of renewable energy. And when you compare that to other things like Christmas lights, I mean, it pales in comparison to the amount of electricity. So it becomes this question of, what do we value when it comes to energy expulsion? And there's nothing wrong inherent with the consumption of electricity. It's how that electricity is generated in the first place. And if it's generated with renewable energy sources, there's nothing wrong with that. So it's just, I'm really having a difficult time piecing this one together and the motives behind this decision on behalf of Tesla. But like Monty said, we bought Bitcoin before Elon and Tesla did, and we'll hold regardless because we still see that the fundamental story hasn't really changed.
Yeah, and the whole thing was just hype, I thought, anyway. Elon is a great promoter because he has such a big mouth and a booming mouthpiece. The tens of millions that follow him, including me, that follow him on Twitter. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a brilliant guy. I thought it was stupid that Tesla was going to take Bitcoin for its cars anyway, quite frankly, because most of us that have Bitcoin aren't selling it. And if you're a Bitcoin trader, why would you even do that? I didn't get the whole, business behind why you would do that. Now, as far as the treasury and putting some percentage of their treasury into something that's not, diminishing in value, which, they made more money on that Bitcoin trade in the Tesla treasury, buying $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and taking 100 million off the table than they've ever made making cars. You guys all know that if you've been following the story. So I think, if they decide that they will not hold Bitcoin because of the environmental impact, their decision, I don't think it will stop the rest of the world that's running towards it. It might accelerate green. My friend Kevin O'Leary, guys, is putting together a green consortium for Bitcoin. It's more or less like, what do they call them? Conflict diamonds. When you're in Africa and various parts of Africa where they have conflicts, most jewelers and most even collectors will not buy diamonds that are conflict diamonds. They want to know that that was mined in a reasonable fashion and that the people were making, a living wage or whatever in that country. We'll have to see exactly how that ends up playing out. But I think that in all likelihood, Tesla not accepting Bitcoin for cars, I'd love to know how many people actually did that, CJ. Maybe there were 5 people. And famously, what they were going to do is not sell those coins. They were going to continue to hold them. Now, if Tesla decides to dump its stash of the rest of those coins that it had, which Elon Musk didn't say that they've decided to do that yet. He has just said so far they're not going to take Bitcoin for his cars. But if they decided to dump his stash, $1.4 billion or whatever, however much in Bitcoin, would it impact the market? Yeah, for several hours, but that's about it. And it'll create a great opportunity, I think. So, like I said, live with the Elon, die by the Elon. You love him when he's, pumping up a trade that you're in, and when he's doing the opposite, you just kind of shake your head and go, "That's Elon." What do you think the board thought when he fired up that fat one with Joe Rogan? They were, oh my God, no, don't do this. First of all, why would you go on Joe Rogan if you're Elon Musk? All the cars that they've got, they sell. It's not a question. I mean, they can't meet the demand. And you guys hear us say all the time, supply and demand, they've got to balance out. If you have too much supply, prices got to drop. Too much demand, prices got to rise. We've got the inflation and demand thing down pretty well with what we've seen over the last 2 days in particular. And I'm sure Tesla did not need and does not need Elon Musk to be on social media about, selling cars or buying Bitcoin or trading Bitcoin or whatever. But I nonetheless am a fan. And like I say, I just take the good with the bad with Mr. Musk.
Yeah, I guess that's how you got to do it, John. I just have a quick funny story. We're talking about buying cars with crypto. Actually, last night in our community, one of our members, I'll go ahead and share his name. I'm sure you won't mind. Josh Nardi. He he mentioned that he wanted to increase his ETH position, but he was just buying the dip relentlessly. So this week he's selling a vintage Jaguar in order to buy more ETH. So instead of trading his crypto in for a car, he's trading his car in for more crypto. So multiple ways you can play this.
Oh yeah. And there are other ways. The way that Satoshi set up, and these guys used to be miners. CJ and Monty used to be miners, so they know much better than me. But the way he set it up, or they set it up, whoever Satoshi is or was, is that it's a proof of work. That work is those nodes around the world, and they have to solve this complicated puzzle. And the computers work very hard at doing that, harder and harder every coin that is mined. It gets harder and harder. And then you have a halving like happened last May, and you only get half as many reward coins for the work that you've done. That's all known. But the draw of that energy to cool those machines and run those machines is what the environmental impact that Mr. Musk is addressing. And, the fact that people address it is a good thing, but there are ways to do it much cleaner, and hopefully more people will migrate towards that.
Yeah, I feel like we're giving Tesla and Elon Musk a lot of flack, but in retrospect, I mean, the market was a little bit vulnerable. I mean, it wasn't too long ago when we were talking about how 5 of the top 10 coins on Uniswap were dog meme coins. And I would be doing a disservice if I did not mention Vitalik and how he donated $1 billion of Shiba token, to a COVID relief foundation in India. And that price of that token subsequently fell by over 35%. Many were mad at him. But in all honesty, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. The money's going to a good place. But that also likely put a lot of fear into those speculative short-term traders' minds. And, Elon and that news with Tesla, it was mainly just a large catalyst to send the market even more down. So I think there was definitely a couple factors, but I see the Musk tweet being more of the true catalyst. I mean, what do you guys make of Vitalik's actions?
Yeah, CJ, this was a 24 hours in crypto that I will not forget, because that was just weird news from Vitalik. And, I never bought Sheepcoin, never planned to buy Sheepcoin. I'm not that type of crypto trader. But that being said, in the white paper of this token, they gave 50% of the total supply of Sheepcoins to Vitalik, because in the white paper, they say he's so wealthy, he won't need to. It was essentially a burn. They didn't think that he would ever touch these tokens. But sure enough, they appreciated in value. They're sitting there in his wallet. And yeah, he made a $1 billion donation using his 50% of the SHIB tokens. So, there's been a lot of people saying that, oh, he rug pulled retail traders. But I mean, hey, he made a donation. It was literally written into the white paper that he had these tokens and he could do anything he wanted with them. So if you're investing in this asset without knowing this, then it's kind of on you for not doing your due diligence. But yeah, it's just a crazy story. It was pretty funny. CJ, I sent you that tweet from Charles Hoskinson saying, does donating $1 billion to charity, does that trigger a taxable event? Asking for a friend. Because, him and it's just a really interesting scenario here. And I mean, ultimately, I think it was a good thing that Vitalik did. But if you're a retail trader that just is now holding a bag of sheep that's half as heavy, you probably don't agree with me.
That might be true. That might be true. But again, Vitalik, live by the Vitalik, die by the Vitalik. He's done fabulous, obviously, for all of his followers in Ethereum. He is the co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin. And he's been a generous gentleman, just as Monty said. So if you follow him into Shiba, and then he gives away a bunch of Shiba or liquidates it in order to make money for that charity, you got to take the good with the bad. Let's talk about taking the good, guys. Who wants to kick off the doges of the day?
There are lots of great buying opportunities all across the board today. And that's one thing that is kind of nice about a pretty volatile tweet from Elon Musk. I saw a lot of traders in our room buying the dip. So I'm sure they're pretty anxious to see what we are looking at today. So CJ, what are you looking at in terms of our doge of the day?
Yeah, I've always found through the past few years of experience that the best time to buy crypto usually is when we're having a massive waterfall and half of the exchanges are down. If you can get filled in that time period, it usually allows everyone else to come back in. I remember in March 12th, when we had that 40% correction in ETH, everybody panicked, but the next day we are up above the previous prices. So That was kind of a concept that I wanted to take with me through yesterday's outage across BlockFi, Kraken, and Coinbase even temporarily. But my Doge of the day is going to be Aave. And Aave is a really good fundamental project that I like. I mean, it's had a massive uptrend, but the reason why I've picked it today is because of that massive spike in volume. Get ready for this, guys. Relative trading volume is up 426% on Aave. You can see highlighted on the graph behind us that red circle was the last time we've had this level of volume in Aave. And preceding that pump in volume, while price was already very, very far from the moving average, we still went up another 25% in a very short period of time. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something similar. A lot of traders jumping in at that level shows confidence that price will likely travel higher. And, even in our current point, we haven't diverged as far from the moving average as we did previously. So I'm bullish on Aave in the short term. And by short term, I mean like next couple days.
Cool. Well, I'm going to jump in, Monty. I did a trade last night in Chainlink. This is one that we've talked about. I heard gosh, now I'm trying to think of which podcast he was on, but I can't remember right now, but I heard the founder on a podcast 2 weeks ago. Fell in love with what they do. I bought it last night on the dip at 41. It's now 44. I'm going to buy some right now. Just so you guys know, I'm not just doing a pump and dump on anybody. I'm buying, hold on one sec, slide it. There we go. Just bought it on Voyager just now. It pays 5.5%, by the way, on Voyager. I'm not sure if the VGX coins get me more than 5.5, but 5.5% on top of this. The stock, or the coin rather, was pumping to almost 54 just a day ago. So to pick it up at 41, I thought was a gift. I think what these guys do, I think it's on the Oracle. I think it's an Oracle smart contract.
Yeah. And John, I think were you watching the Lex Friedman podcast?
That was it.
Yeah, I saw that one too. Really good.
My gosh, if you ever want to hear two really smart people talking about crypto, even though Lex is just beginning, he's so brilliant, and the founder of Chainlink, it will convince you that you should own some of this coin. And so, like I say, bought it at 41 last night, bought it again just now at 44.25.
Very nice, very nice. I will close it up for the day today with my Doge, and that is DOT. I've talked about DOT before. It's been my Doge before, maybe even been my Doge within the week. But I like what I'm seeing today out of DOT, because I talk all the time about the value of this 20-period moving average, and also the value of bullish engulfing candles. And last night we did see a somewhat of a sharp correction for DOT. It did go a little bit below this moving average, which concerned me. But today we got a very strong candle. And also take notice of this volume down here. The volume is building strongly today. And, I think if it picks up, if it continues to pick up like it is, I think we're set to retest this previously critical resistance of 45.9. So this is one that I picked up this morning. Full disclosure, I have held this for a while and I haven't really sold. I just added to my position for the first time in a while this morning. But I'll be looking to possibly take profits if it does break above this 45.9 level. And based on what I'm seeing with this bullish engulfing candle and the building volume, I think that this is a possibility to happen by the end of the week. So DOT is my Doge of the day.
And if you guys don't want to wait another 24 hours or 23 hours and 45 minutes for the next Daily Crypto Byte, you should join the chat room. It'll only cost you $1 for your first month. That's right, $1 for the first month. And if you're getting value out of it and decide to up for the second month, it's $29. Nothing hidden there. You're not charged for 6 months and then you have to try to reach us or something like that. $1. Just go to marketrebellion.com/try crypto. And as an added bonus, the guys have started some videos that are exclusive for subscribers, like the AJ Monty video yesterday or 2 days ago. 2 days ago. They had that special with AJ Monty where they went over critical levels, support, resistance, and so forth for a number of cryptocurrencies. The only way you could get in there and see that live would be to be a subscriber. So just think that $1 would have let you in and you'd be in there for all the month, all the videos, everything. So check it out. And if you do go over to our sponsor, Voyager, give them some love. They'll give you some back. All you got to do is type in Rebel25 and when you open a Voyager account, and you will get $25 in Bitcoin. Bang.
Bang. And with that, we will leave it there. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We will see you again tomorrow.